feel the love, Christina?
I mean, yes. I live kind of in hell. I'm not out a lot, so this is like a little difficult just for my system. But yeah, of course, the support is wonderful, and I'm really grateful.
The downfall of Christina Applegate, once a beloved actress and pop culture icon, has taken a dark and tragic turn. From erratic public outbursts to troubling accusations of scandals, Applegate's fall from grace has been nothing short of sad.
I was being brought to set in a wheelchair. Like, I couldn't walk that far. I had to tell everybody because I needed help. You know, I needed someone to help me stand, and I needed someone to help. I needed someone to help me to get there.
With new details surfacing daily that paint a disturbing picture of the actress's troubled mind. Join us to find out. Behind the smile. It could be assumed that Christina Applegate was destined to be in the limelight. That fame was always her calling. At first glance, she seemed like a natural-born star. However, beneath the surface, her journey was marked by unseen suffering. When Christina was only 8, a boy from the neighborhood insulted her by calling her overweight. Although it was just one word, it hurt her immensely. This incident led to the beginning of a difficult journey with food and self-esteem, as self-doubt took root in her heart. When she turned 15, just as her future seemed bright, her battle became more challenging. This was also the year she secured the part of Kelly Bundy on the TV show Married with Children. Rather than being overjoyed at her newfound success, Christina found herself being pushed into a more ominous direction. Her mother signed her up for Weight Watchers. While most teenagers her age are living carefree lives, Christina was obsessed with keeping track of every morsel she ate. Her strict eating habits began to alarm those around her. Occasionally, she would limit herself to just 5 almonds in a day. Any deviation from this strict diet would result in emotional breakdowns and withdrawal from others. Her mother failed to grasp the seriousness of the situation. When Christina's weight fell to 110 pounds, her mother's only question was, "How did you achieve this?" Instead of providing comfort, these words added to the pressure Christina was already under. In 1987, Christina's breakthrough moment arrived when she landed the role of Kelly Bundy, the blonde daughter in a bold new TV show on Fox. Married with Children stood out from other shows with its daring and humorous content. Christina's portrayal of the stereotypical dumb blonde character quickly gained recognition, with her witty one-liners, known as Kellyisms, becoming popular with fans. As the world found humor in her actions, Christina was quietly falling apart. Despite her cheerful demeanor and boisterous laughs, she was depriving herself of food. Her struggle with an eating disorder persisted for years without anyone's knowledge. She masked her pain so effectively that even her loved ones failed to notice the extent of her distress. Christina didn't address the issue until 2024, when she discussed it on her podcast with Jaime Lynn Sigler. During the conversation, she confessed that the intense pressure to be thin led her to stop eating, hoping her bones would become visible, as that was the only way she believed she could be accepted. While she appeared healthy on camera, she was falling apart internally. Even now, she finds it difficult to confront her reflection in the mirror. To prevent herself from breaking down, she writes small notes on the glass as gentle reminders to stay composed. However, Christina persisted despite the pain she faced. Since her youth, she harbored a dream of one day gracing the stage of Broadway. This dream materialized in 2005 when she took center stage at the Al Hirschfeld Theater in the lead role of Sweet Charity's Revival. The production premiered on May 4th and concluded on December 31st, after a successful run of 279 shows. The path to Broadway was filled with obstacles. Prior to the New York debut, the production went on a preview tour of 3 cities, beginning in Minneapolis on January 25th and then moving on to Chicago and Boston. The challenges were immense. The dance routines were intricate, the pace was relentless, and the stress was constant. Despite the difficulties, Christina persevered. She was determined not to give up. One pivotal evening altered the course of events. In Chicago on March 11th, while performing in a Friday evening production, Christina suffered a fracture in her right foot's fifth metatarsal bone. The injury occurred early on in the performance, yet she persevered for another 20 minutes before the pain became too much to bear. Ultimately, her stand-in had to step in and complete the show. Initially, it appeared that the dream had come to an end when producers declared the show would not progress to Broadway. However, Christina was not willing to surrender. Merely 48 hours later, she persuaded producer Barry Weissler to sustain the show. She was determined to ensure her dream remained alive. On April 18th, she made a comeback to the stage with a new accessory. Her choice of tan medical boots added a unique touch to her overall appearance during performances. Each time she stepped on stage, she was reminded of the physical toll she was enduring. Despite the signals her body was giving her, she continued to push forward. Her foot injury was so severe that it would never completely recover. The damage was irreversible. But her journey is just about to get worse. What more held her back from her true dream? Stick around. A journey through pain and strength. Christina Applegate's life took a sudden turn in August 2008 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 36. The news was unexpected, as she had been vigilant about her health, undergoing regular checkups since she turned 30. Despite showing no symptoms, the cancer was discovered during a routine MRI scan. This revelation was particularly alarming to Christina, considering that her mother, Nancy Pretty, had battled and defeated breast cancer on 2 separate occasions. When the medical professionals conducted the examinations, they made an unexpected finding. Christina was found to have the BRCA1 gene mutation. This indicated that her chance of developing breast cancer during her lifetime was extremely high, and her risk of ovarian cancer was also elevated. Confronted with these statistics, Christina was determined not to let fear dictate her life. Despite the fact that the cancer was only present in one breast, she opted to undergo a double mastectomy. This decision was not taken lightly. At a young age, and in the public eye, her career often hinged on her physical appearance. Nevertheless, Christina prioritized peace of mind. She desired to live free from the constant fear of cancer looming over her. In September, only a month after, she received news that she was completely free of cancer. The surgery had effectively eliminated the need for chemotherapy or radiation. Despite this positive outcome, she found herself deeply affected by the experience. She confided in others that she would often cry and scream in solitude, despite trying to maintain a sense of humor by making jokes about her ordeal. The agony she felt was undeniable. The traumatic ordeal had forced her to focus solely on survival, forever changing the course of her life. Christina did not retreat into seclusion. Instead, she used her suffering as motivation. Right Action for Women, a nonprofit organization founded by her in 2009, aimed to provide MRI screenings to high-risk women. These tests were often not included in insurance coverage, and Christina aimed to address this issue. Through her work, the charity has amassed millions of dollars, granting numerous women the opportunity to have life-saving screenings. Christina had managed to turn her personal pain into a beacon of hope for others. Life continued to challenge her resilience, as in 2021, while working on the last season of Dead to Me, Christina received yet another heartbreaking news: a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, an incurable illness that affects the nervous system. In retrospect, she came to understand that the initial indications had manifested many years ago. In the midst of filming the pilot episode, She stumbled while running, yet she didn't make much of it. With the passage of time, the signs intensified. When the formal diagnosis finally came, her well-being had deteriorated rapidly. She had to be transported to the set in a wheelchair. Mundane activities such as opening a door or getting up became daunting tasks. She openly discussed her diagnosis, even though it surprised others. She acknowledged that joy was absent in her life. She depicted her daily experience as being trapped in a nightmare. She put on 40 pounds, had to rely on a cane for mobility, and constantly worried about falling, even in the shower. Simple tasks that others took for granted, such as holding a phone, opening a bottle, or getting out of bed in the morning, became overwhelming obstacles for her. There were days when she lacked the energy to put up a fight and remained in bed. Her world became confined to her house, and she rarely ventured outside anymore. In 2023, the situation deteriorated. Following a meal at a reputable eatery, Christina fell ill with a virus that caused her extreme discomfort. She experienced prolonged episodes of vomiting, dizziness, and intense stomach cramps that necessitated multiple trips to the emergency room. The virus not only caused physical suffering, but also led to a loss of dignity, as she had to resort to wearing adult diapers and enduring embarrassing symptoms. Now, let's dive into the pain from love, because even while trying to find peace in love, her story got worse. Stay with us. Love, loss, and the search for peace. Christina Applegate's initial marital experience appeared to be like a dream come true. She and Jonathan Shaich had been in a relationship since 1997 and eventually decided to get married after spending many years together. Their wedding took place on October 20th, 2001 in Palm Springs, which was viewed by friends, family, and fans as the start of a lasting love story. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. Christina was thriving in her career, and Jonathan was also doing well professionally. Together, they appeared to be a content and formidable couple. However, beneath their cheerful facade, there were signs of trouble. Jonathan officially initiated the divorce process in December 2005. Despite their efforts over the years, their marriage had silently disintegrated. The divorce was officially concluded in August 2007. When they finalized the documents, Christina retained ownership of their 2 Los Angeles residences and their dog, Alexis. Meanwhile, Jonathan departed with a Mercedes and a Buddha figurine. They did not request financial assistance or alimony. Their split was calm and private, devoid of any sensational conflict. Their marriage of 6 years concluded quietly, with a sense of sadness instead of hostility. Jonathan found the aftermath particularly difficult. In hindsight, he acknowledged that the divorce plunged him into a state of darkness. Seeking solace, he resorted to alcohol, medications, and superficial connections. He experienced a sense of isolation from both life and his beliefs. The vision that once inspired hope had disintegrated into sorrow. However, Christina had more suffering to endure. Shortly after her divorce, she experienced a heartbreaking event. In June of 2008, her ex-boyfriend, Lee Grivas, passed away in his apartment in Hollywood. He was young, just shy of his 27th birthday, at the age of 26. His death was a result of a substance overdose, with a syringe discovered next to him. Christina began a relationship with Lee when her marriage was failing around 2005 or 2006. He was unlike anyone she had known in Hollywood, having been a fisherman in Alaska before becoming a photographer. Although they had a strong connection, Lee's ongoing struggle with addiction eventually drove them apart. Lee had been battling substance addiction since his teenage years in New York, getting expelled from school for these hard substances and yet continued using them. His inner struggles proved to be more powerful than his aspirations. Despite breaking up, they briefly reunited in April 2008. Christina had a glimmer of hope that he was rekindling their relationship. But only 2 months later, he passed away. She was utterly crushed. She spoke of him as an extraordinary individual whose absence was indescribable. His passing brought another level of grief to her already delicate heart. Life continued to progress, but security was now a worry. In 2012, Christina, now married to musician Martin Lenoble, experienced a frightening situation. The duo was harassed by a stalker who sent harmful and aggressive messages via the internet. One message even suggested that Christina had been taken, followed by threats against Martin's life. Another message vowed to harm him severely. The LAPD reacted promptly to the threats by securing a search warrant for Twitter soon after they were issued. Despite the stalker deleting their account and vanishing, the fear lingered. With a young daughter to protect, Christina found the situation particularly alarming. To ensure the safety of her family, she beefed up security measures around her house. But at some point in life, she finally realized that it was already over. That was the most pain for Christina. Let's dive into it. The painful truth of reality. Christina Applegate has long been admired for her resilience, wit, and talent for bringing joy to others, even in challenging times. However, in June 2024, she unveiled a new aspect of herself that was vulnerable and sad. During a podcast episode, she disclosed a secret that struck her audience into silence, revealing that she was engulfed in profound despair to the point where everyday activities like taking a walk or grabbing coffee lost their significance. After 52 years of being in the public eye, Christina found herself in a state of vulnerability that she had never experienced before. She refrained from using humor or gentle language as a shield, instead choosing to be candid and raw, showing that the agony she was feeling was genuine. In November of the same year, she delved further into her reality. She openly shared the experience of living with multiple sclerosis. Her candidness was eye-opening. She recounted moments of unbearable pain, causing her to scream in agony while lying in bed. Her hands had grown so feeble that she struggled to grasp her phone or open a basic bottle. The illness was gradually diminishing her autonomy. In the same podcast, another individual with MS compared the pain to sharp objects in the abdomen. Christina did not minimize her response, stating it was the most intense pain she had ever felt. Her words held a sense of truth, eliminating any room for falsehoods. 2 weeks after opening up about her mental health, false rumors started circulating in the headlines. Some went as far as saying she was being monitored for self-destructive tendencies. Christina promptly corrected the misinformation, clarifying that she was never put on self-harm watch and that her words were misconstrued. She emphasized that being candid about her mental health had been a therapeutic experience for her. Finally, she felt liberated from secrecy and stood firm in not feeling embarrassed for speaking her truth. In 2023, noticeable changes had already occurred in her body that she couldn't conceal. The accumulated effects of taking medication and not being able to engage in physical activities had resulted in a weight gain of 40 pounds. The woman, who was previously admired for her dancing skills and vibrancy, now relied on a cane to walk. Viewing herself in the last season of Dead to Me became a source of distress. She mentioned that she couldn't watch all the episodes consecutively because seeing herself on screen caused her anguish. Applegate's bold words and the storm that followed. The 2024 election night was filled with significance that many could not overlook. After Donald Trump's victory over Kamala Harris, strong emotions swept through the country. Christina Applegate felt compelled to speak out on this impactful night. Her online post sparked a wildfire on social media, with her message directed towards those who opposed women's and disability rights, urging them to unfollow her. Applegate revealed that her daughter was deeply upset, adding to the tension of the moment. She also declared that she would be closing her fan account. When a stranger made a one-sided comment, Christina was filled with intense anger. She showed no interest in being nice or restraining herself. She openly expressed her fury. However, the internet has a tendency to remember everything, and the next morning she felt the full impact of her actions. She offered an apology and clarified that she was in tears, not in a fit of rage, and she simply wanted to lose herself in TV shows. Nonetheless, for a number of supporters, the harm had been done. Her feelings continued to surge with the arrival of tragedy in Los Angeles in January 2025. The wildfires that ravaged the city left many displaced and full of fear. Christina, still reeling from the aftermath of the election, expressed her outrage on her podcast once more. She vehemently criticized those who said that the disaster was justified for Hollywood. Her impassioned defense of her city resonated with her audience, as she highlighted that Los Angeles is primarily composed of ordinary individuals striving to make it through each day, rather than just wealthy celebrities. Her co-host attempted to soothe her. However, Christina was not interested in toning down her remarks. She proclaimed that she was finished with staying silent, and she was serious. The criticism came swiftly. Some commended her bravery, asserting that she was speaking honestly. On the other hand, some began to criticize her, claiming they could not endorse her anymore. Nevertheless, Christina persisted and did not let up. Her memoir, You with the Sad Eyes, is scheduled to be published in March 2026. She has assured her audience that the book will uncover aspects of her life that she has kept hidden until now. With mentions of personal struggles such as abuse, body image issues, and feelings of being deserted, it is clear that the book will delve into deep emotional wounds. Having started her acting career at a very young age, there are countless untold stories that have shaped her life behind her cheerful facade. Christina has emphasized that the memoir will not be sensationalized, but rather a raw and truthful account of her experiences. She believes that being honest in her storytelling is the most daunting task of all. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.